Welcome to Final Play Sports. I'm your host, Pete Lubar. Today we're talking Big 12 basketball. Week 15 is now in the books, and it was not a good week for Kansas. I mentioned last week that I thought Kansas was overrated, and I believe that they are. They lost two this week. They lost to Utah in Salt Lake City, and they lost to BYU. The BYU loss was particularly egregious. They lost 81-57. The worst loss in Bill Self's career at Kansas. They are not a good team right now. I don't know how they maintain their spot in the top 25. I think they'll be out on Monday. I don't know what they're doing in terms of Lunardi. Had them as a 5 seed. I find that hard to believe that they're a 5 seed. I've seen 30 teams in the nation that would beat the heck out of them right now. They're just not good. Defensively, they're a mess. BYU just blitzed them. Open shot after open shot after open shot. Layups, outside, three-pointers, everything. Not a good defensive effort. Offensively, terrible. Dickinson was the only starter in double figures with 12. Zeke Mayo had 6 points. Harris had 2 points. Badunga, 2 points. Adams had 4. They were out-rebounded 43-33. There was nothing good about Kansas. They look like they don't care. They don't have any heart. They're not winning. They don't win on the road. And this is not a team that's going to make a deep run in the NCAA championship. So, with that, the team that did look good was BYU. BYU won twice last week. They beat Kansas State, who was coming in hot, and they beat Kansas. BYU is a great shooting team. They've shot 748 three-pointers this year, making 274. No one else in the conference is even close. They've attempted 80 more three-pointers than Texas Tech and have made 18 more than Texas Tech. So, really hot-looking team now. Early in the season, I felt like it was Saunders only. Now they've gotten contributions from a lot of different players. And they have really improved their stock. I think they're firmly in the tournament. Although Lunardi still has them as an 11 seed. They were a 10 seed last week, Monday. So today they are an 11 seed. I don't ever figure out that after you have a couple good wins. So we don't know, but BYU looks pretty good. Houston also looks good, and they beat Arizona in a great game Saturday. Really entertaining game, back and forth the whole way. Houston took control with a few minutes left to go in the game and held on to beat Arizona and maintain their lead for first place in the Big 12. The other game that was sort of interesting last Saturday was Baylor playing West Virginia. I kind of mentioned that I thought it had the feel of a make or break game. Baylor did survive 74-71. They shot 20 more free throws than West Virginia, so they got to the line, but both teams shot terribly. It wasn't the most pretty game that you'll ever see. Both teams shot 40% or less from the field and 25% or less from three-point range, so the shooting wasn't very good. One team had to win. In this case, it was Baylor. A better win for Baylor, not a good loss for West Virginia, but West Virginia redeemed itself by beating Cincinnati. So Baylor Baylor lost to Arizona later in the week, so on Tuesday or Wednesday. So Baylor went 1-1 for the week, and West Virginia went 1-1 for the week, and they're both sitting sort of at that 9-10 spot in the polls from a Lunardi standpoint or a Jerry Palm. Either one, it really doesn't matter. And then CU got its first win of the season in conference, beating UCF. UCF lost twice last week. They have essentially no chance of making the NCAA tournament now after having a couple of good weeks. So that went on Saturday. I mentioned Arizona beat Baylor on Tuesday or Wednesday. Utah beat Kansas, which was a bit of a surprise. Utah still hanging around the middle of the pack. And TCU upset Tech, which was a really good win. They've moved to 8-7 in conference. And I mentioned that West Virginia beat Cincinnati. It was actually an entertaining game. till Cincinnati or West Virginia sort of took over midway through the second half and then beat them. So if we look at the conference standings now, Houston is 14-1, Arizona 12-3. So Houston's got a 2-game lead with 4 games left or 3, 4 games left, I guess. So a pretty nice lead. Probably will take that top spot for the Big 12 tournament. Arizona right now is at 12-3. Iowa State and Texas Tech both at 11-4. And then a fairly big drop off, but BYU is now 9-6, so good for them. Kansas, Baylor, TCU are all 8-7. West Virginia, Utah, and Kansas State are all 7-8, and then everyone else is below that. So looks like there's still 7 or 8 teams that could potentially get to the finals of the Big 12 tournament and maybe play their way into the tournament. The key games this week, Saturday, we have a big game, Iowa State at Houston. Should be very entertaining. West Virginia is playing another meaningful game at Texas Tech. One I think they need to win. They've got 2 games left that are against teams that are good would be good victories, Texas Tech and BYU, and they need to win one of those, I think, to make the tournament still. They've been falling fairly quickly. BYU is at Arizona. That should be a great test for Arizona and for BYU. And then Monday you've got Houston at Texas Tech. So a couple of really good games for Houston this week. Should be very entertaining to watch. In terms of the seeding right now for the NCAA tournament, and once again, I'm just using Lenardi. Baylor right now is a 9 seed. BYU has moved down to an 11. Iowa State is a 2. That means they've moved up a bit. Kansas is still a 5. Texas Tech a 4. Houston a 2. Arizona a 3. And West Virginia is a 10. And it wouldn't surprise me if West Virginia loses again, that they fall to 11 and maybe fall out of the tournament altogether if they lose those 2 games that are important. So, very short segment today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube page. And it costs you nothing. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at my vitals, which are following this episode. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.